What do Airbnb, CNN, Burger King, Uber, and General Motors all have in common? You may be wondering, once you clicked on this video, you probably didn't wonder that, but I know I did, and I did some research prior to this video, and I really looked into exactly what happens when recessions happen. And there is actually a whole lot of good things that come out of recessions, specifically for small businesses. So if you have a print-on-demand business and maybe you're on Etsy, maybe you're on Shopify, this video I hope finds you, because there are so many good things that can come out of a recession. And surprisingly, some of the biggest companies started to thrive and worked their way out of recessions, just like we may be in right now. What I wanted to say at the beginning of this video is, surprisingly enough, when we're in a recession, we don't find out that we are in a recession until generally over 6 months later, and that's usually after a recession has already happened. So we may be in an economic downturn right now. It's not announced by the US government, but with that being said, a lot of the times announcements that we are in a recession happen 7 months to all the way to 24 months after a recession takes place in the United States. So with that being said, we could be in a recession right now, but it's not announced, so we can't really qualify and state it is. But if you get what I'm dropping down, we may just be there right now. And for those of you who may be a little bit panicked, maybe you have a print-on-demand business, maybe you're working a 9 to 5 and you're trying to make ends meet. Maybe you're in a place right now where you don't have a job, you're unemployed, and you're looking for other ways to earn additional income online to make up for the increased gas prices, the increased all across the board market price increases that we're seeing right now. There's a lot going on across the world, and inflation is a super real thing. And on top of that, a lot of the middle class is really getting hurt right now because we're not seeing an increase across the board for pay. And that's just the simple truth. That's one of the reasons why I decided to quit my 9 to 5, because I wasn't getting compensated for my hourly work. With that being said, I had a really nice job at a hospital in downtown Chicago, but I still wasn't getting paid enough, and I wasn't getting enough raises to make up for how much all of the prices in the world were increasing. Now, with that being said, I have the luxury of being able to quit my 9 to 5 through my print-on-demand business that I built a 1.5 years ago. However, a lot of people don't have that. And this video is for those of you who may be struggling right now and you're looking for a light at the end of the tunnel. And I really hope that this video brings you some happiness and some motivation to start a business in 2022. With that being said, I did my research today and I have a lot of facts backing all of the things that we are going to be talking about. I do have articles I am going to link below on all of the information that you are hearing today. We did a lot of research for this video, so stick around and we're going to get straight into it. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications for all of the notifications for this channel to get notified for the next video. I just said notified like 10 times. Anyways, we're gonna get into it, guys. So if you're in the entrepreneurial class of 2022, you may be wondering right now, is there going to be profit for any startups that start during this year? If I start right now, exactly, is this a smart time to start a business? Should I have a startup print-on-demand business? And with that being said, you know this is a print-on-demand business channel, and I want to say to preface this video is that yes, this is probably the best time you could potentially start. Like they said, I watch a channel called Graham Stephen. I will link him here and then down below. But even on his channel specifically, and that's what inspired me to do this video, is that recessions and this time period that we're in is potentially the best time to, first of all, invest in stocks. Second of all, it is the best time to start a business because you can start, and a lot of the times the main issues that businesses face right now is if you are hiring out a lot of employees, you have a big company, that's generally the time that big businesses fall. However, small businesses thrive during this season and what we're in right now. So a lot of people who watch my videos on YouTube and follow me on my own print-on-demand journey are usually in that startup period, or you at least have a small business. And with print-on-demand, you don't hire out any help. You don't have anyone usually besides yourself. A lot of print-on-demand businesses are solopreneurs, and that's what I classify myself as with my own Etsy print-on-demand store. One of the reasons why I try not to hire out for that specific business is because just in the case of economic downturn, I don't have any staff that I have to hire out. It cuts out the risk factor and any inventory overhead that I would need to run a business during something like a recession or even a potential economic downturn of any sort. Even with what happened with the pandemic, there's so many other things that can create difficulties as a business owner. And the less overhead you have, the less employees that you hire, the better turnout for your business in the long term. And that's just kind of an obvious and known thing. But with that being said, that's why I stick as a solopreneur in my print-on-demand business. There are so many different types of business models, such as service-based businesses, brick and mortar businesses. There is the print-on-demand and on-demand types of businesses that can fall into the categories of print-on-demand or drop shipping, because these business models are per a customer purchasing an item, and then that order will be fulfilled by a printing company. Maybe it's fulfilled by a drop shipping company. So these are on-demand business models. There is also different types of business models that are subscription-based business models and digital business models. So there's so many different types of business models out there. And one thing to consider when you're creating your own type of business is, first of all, what risk factor are you comfortable with dealing with? And one of the biggest risk factor types of business models is, of course, brick and mortar businesses, because not only are you initially putting down a down payment for inventory overhead, you have to hire on staff to work at that business. And then on top of that, you have to pay a monthly rent. With that being said, usually monthly rent, you go on a contract with a specific rental property. Sometimes business rental contracts can be very long term, such as 3 years to 10 years. I've heard about corporate companies in Chicago, for example, that only sign on leases for 10 years at minimum. So that's something to really think about if you're looking to do a brick and mortar business. And in times of a recession, generally these types of businesses take some of the greatest hits as far as trying to keep a business running without having to let go of staff or not really give raises, things like that. There's so many issues that can come up with regular brick and mortar businesses. With that being said, one of the types of companies the most affected by a recession is very huge companies that have to ship their items overseas. With inflation and less sales coming in, this really can impact specific businesses that are very big time businesses. That's why we see a lot of the largest companies that suffer during recessions. On the other hand, the types of businesses that do very well over time is print-on-demand business models, because again, there is no inventory overhead. You are not hiring staff. Yes, during this time, we may see increases in marketplace prices. So a Bella and Canvas 3001 t-shirt may have $1 or $2 added to it, but that can be compensated by increasing all of your prices on your store as well. In fact, print-on-demand businesses have grown 12% over the past several years. Additionally, the global print-on-demand market size was estimated at $4.91 billion in 2021 and is expected to reach $6.17 billion in 2022. 2022. So there are billions of dollars being made with print on demand. And if you're not in this business model, you may want to jump in the next year or so, especially when there's a recession, because after that recession, people will go to purchasing again. And if you already have an established store, you can just grow larger and larger as time goes on. If you're looking for the perfect way to monetize your creativity, whether you do art or you're an entrepreneur and you love designing clothing, maybe that you just like to doodle or draw, this is the perfect type of business model for you. And you can put all of these different types of creative outputs onto books. You can do posters, you can do t-shirts, sweatshirts, suitcases. There's so many other items that you can create with print on demand. So not only is it a business model that you can start in hard economic times, but this is a great time to jump in and learn the different markets that you can go in, such as maybe back to school t-shirts and sweatshirts, maybe the Christmas type of niche and other niches. There are just so many that you can hop into and really learn and perfect your specific types of products and learn what actually sells during these times. For those of you watching who have never heard of print on demand before, what this print on demand business model is where if a customer finds your specific item and they purchase the item, that order sends straight over to your print on demand company where they will print, pack, and ship your item and ship it to that customer. So in this process, your customer pays for the item, then you pay your print on demand provider. However, I will say the payment from a customer is delayed. So generally you will pay your print on demand provider once you get an order in, then you get the funds from your customer a few days later. With that being said, once your print on demand provider gets that payment in, then they will start printing, packing, and shipping, and the rest of the process is done for you with print on demand. So this is a business model that's opposite, where you get the demand for a product first, and then you can kind of scale up from there as you test it out the market, you see exactly what sells and what people want to buy from your store, and then over time you can really build a store because you start to learn through this method on what people like, maybe what people don't like. Surprisingly, some of my first bestsellers with print on demand in my Etsy store, I did not think people would buy, and come to find out through doing this type of method, I found what really sells for me and what people really, really love. So hopefully that helps those of you who are looking to start a print on demand business in 2022 or 2023. So some of you may be watching this right now and thinking, how do I know if this is a right option for me during a crippling economy? And that's why I wanted to make this video, to get straight to the point and tell you that the demand for print on demand never goes down, because one of the things that you can do with print on demand is customize items. And believe it or not, customization and personalization items always sell throughout the year for birthdays, for holidays, for any other type of event. People are always looking for customization options. So if you're in a place where you may not be seeing sales, instead of already done for you and already made items, you may want to consider going to personalization options, because a lot of people are still looking for pregnancy announcement t-shirts and sweatshirts. They're looking for gifts for maybe a daughter, maybe a granddaughter. There's so many different items out there that have a personalization feel to them and customization option that people are still searching for. Maybe they may be spending less per gift, or maybe they're just getting one gift instead of two gifts, but people are still giving gifts during times of recessions, and that's why Etsy is such a great marketplace to sell on. If that doesn't convince you otherwise, then hopefully the second point will, that this is a good prospect for investment. And what I mean by that is, a lot of the time during economic downturns and maybe people losing their jobs and other issues, you may be watching this video because you're looking for a side income or side hustle. So with that being said, a lot of the times during economic downturns, a lot of people turn to become their own bosses. And this is one of the coolest things that happens during a recession or economic downturn. Now, some of you may be thinking, wow, there's a lot of people going into print on demand now because of an economic downturn. However, there are a lot of companies actually leaving the competition during this time that are brick and mortar, or are maybe a a handmade or small business that cannot survive off of paying for inventory, one of the silver linings in all of this is a lot of the times we are going to see a lot of new small businesses starting during this time and thriving and creating their own businesses and potentially leaving their 9-to-5s after a recession, because once the economy starts booming again, those people find jobs within their own businesses and realize, hey, I don't need my 9-to-5 anymore. I'm making a full-time income now after this economic downturn. Now, the other thing to note here is a lot of people generally don't have extra funds to invest in stocks at this time or anything like that. And this is a really great time to probably invest into stocks. But like I said, a lot of people don't have that extra money lying around. So instead of investing in stocks, the best thing you could probably do is just invest in your business instead. So instead of putting thousands of dollars into stocks, you could put as little as $20 into a print-on-demand business, starting off to get it off the ground running. Post over maybe 10 listings on your Etsy store, maybe get some mock-ups and other things like that. But the investment for this is a really good investment and return on investment over time once you start to see your store really thriving. So the third thing to note about a print-on-demand business is the fact that there is more competitive pricing during recessions and economic downturns. However, owning a print-on-demand business is really great because you have the ability to have lower prices, especially if you work with companies like Printify, and you can really get low prices for your items. Now, I will say on Etsy, there's a lot of stores that use a method that I do not suggest time and time again, where they list a youth t-shirt underneath a Bell and Canvas 3001 t-shirt. And usually this youth t-shirt is $8 or $9. Usually when a customer clicks on this listing and they look into it, they'll find that the Bell and Canvas 3001 t-shirt is still relatively close to the price that you had as well. So generally speaking, a lot of the times you can get more competitive with the other people in your search and just have low prices or equal prices to your competition on Etsy. The last thing to note on why print on demand is such a great business model during this type of time is that working from home can cut your costs by a landslide. First of all, you're not paying for a specific lease, or you're not renting out a building. You're not paying to go to maybe a craft stand every weekend or anything like that. And second off, you can sell 24/7 with print on demand. So instead of having business hours of maybe 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., your business is open all day long, so people can purchase all day long. And that's why print on demand is such a great business model during this time. You really can save money on rent and all there is to do with running a brick and mortar business, such as hiring out an employee to sell during the day and things like that. And that can save you thousands of dollars by just selling on Etsy or Shopify or your own website. At the end of this video, I hope your main takeaway is that print on demand is one of the lowest risk business models you can enter into, and something that you may want to consider starting if you haven't already in 2022 or 2023 to earn an additional income of some sort that can get you through an economic downturn or any type of recession that we may ever go into. It still gives me a full-time income, even though we are seeing an economic downturn. A lot of people don't have as much money to spend on extra things right now, and a lot of people are saving, especially since gas prices are increasing and market prices across the line are increasing. So this is just a business model that can provide you an additional income and help you through maybe some harder times that we may be going through right now or will be going through in the future. Besides that, don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Check out my free Etsy and print on demand crash course, links in the description below. I do have a free training I am running right now called How to Earn Your First 10K with Etsy and print on demand. So if you want to learn more about the world of print on demand. I have so much free information out there for you. But besides that, guys, don't forget to stick around for that blooper reel. This video was really tough to film today. I'm not sure why. It's just one of those days, but I will see you guys in the next video here. Generally speaking, I don't know what I was gonna say. I can't tell if this is focused or not. That's not focused. Okay, now I'm focused. Changing lighting a little bit.